In today's video, we travel back to the glorious year of 1988 and build a classic Games Workshop and Citadel Miniatures Mighty Fortress, suitable for games of both Warhammer Fantasy and Warhammer 40k. Well, hi folks, and welcome to the Oldhammer's YouTube channel, where we talk about retro minis, indie games, and other wargaming curiosities. I'm Lee, your Oldhammered host, and I'm here with Lynn, your other Oldhammered host, though she is less old and less hammered than I am.
Hello.
And today, Lynn, do you know what we're going to do?
We get to build.
We're going to build a mighty fortress. A mighty fortress from the glorious year of 1988, which was a mere year after Games Workshop released Warhammer 40,000 Rogue Trader and Warhammer Fantasy 3rd Edition. And this castle is designed to work with both systems, if you can believe it. In fact, GW released a book called Warhammer Siege, which we're going to look at in a future video, but basically this was released in hardback in 1988, and in it there are rules for fighting fantasy-type sieges, sci-fi-type sieges, or even battles that mix and match the two genres. So if you wanted to have a couple of squads of beaky space marines defending a primitive stronghold against waves of savage feral orcs, you definitely could do that. And the Warhammer Siege rules were designed to work specifically with the Mighty Fortress in mind, with fortress components being used to illustrate important mechanics, such as assaulting ramparts, shooting from battlements, and moving throughout the castle. So Lynn, I don't know if I told you this story, but way back in the late 70s or the early 80s, my dad built my brother and I a castle, a plywood castle, and it had walls and 4 towers and walkways that extended between the openings in the towers. It was pretty darn cool, but at some point, we sort of lost interest in it, and so what would happen was things that were stored in the garage would eventually get moved out into the woods. That was sort of the overflow storage. So then a few years back, when we went back there to clean up the property, I did find one tower, not the rest of the castle, just a single tower that was covered in moss, but was still around, so the rest of the castle must have been absorbed back into the forest. Anyway, perhaps it's just nostalgia for that old castle, but I did get actually 2 of these mighty fortresses over the last couple of years, second-hand or perhaps third-hand or more. And so I thought, just for fun, let's build one out. So the more mighty fortresses you have, the more different layouts you can build. But we can make the border fortress right here using all the parts included in this kit. So as the box text says, this is kind of a modular design. So you don't have to just pick one layout and glue it together and then kind of live with that. You can assemble it, disassemble it, add new pieces, remove pieces, whatever, to get the layouts you want. It's kind of a high-density gray foam, so you could paint it if you want to, but it's not really necessary. And there are some layouts that they have in the Siege book that you can build if you're willing to modify some of your towers to do some light conversions. I don't really feel like doing that. I don't want to cut into that foam and screw it up. So we'll just kind of stick with these standard layouts that we can build using the kits as is. But with that in mind, let's go ahead and build the border fortress, which uses all the pieces in the standard box, and see how that looks. Okay, Lynn, do you want to gently remove those pieces from the box? And we'll get started here. These are all the little plastic bits, the ladders and the doors and things like that, and those could be painted, but we haven't done that yet. Here's what one of the wall sections kind of looks like, so you can see they got a pattern on there, and the coloring is not too bad. I don't think I would mess with it, though if you were really confident and wanted to get in there with a wash or something like that and paint your own castle walls, you certainly could. I think I'm fine the way it is. Okay, so we have 4 4-part square towers, 4 plain wall sections, 2 wall sections with gateways, and an assortment of doors, ladders, trapdoors, gates, flagpoles, and other stuff with a wood texture finish. So there you go, easy to assemble, no glue or modeling skills required. The tower walls simply interlock, and all other components are freestanding. The complete castle measures 28 by 18 by 7 from tower to tower, but you can arrange the sections in any manner you choose to create your own fantasy castles. So let's just create the standard border fortress and see how that looks on our 3x3 table here. Okay, so there's the assembled castle. It took almost no time to put together. I'm not going to mess with all these plastic pieces right now. At some point we'll go ahead and weather them to make them look appropriately dingy, but that is a job for another day. Also, I haven't knocked out the foam tabs for the front or the rear gate. At some point I'll cut that out of there, but I haven't done it yet. So Lynn, what do you think?
I like it. Easy to assemble, easy to move, lightweight.
And it all fits right back in the box when you're done.
Exactly.
So we're going to take just a few minutes off screen and dig out a few terrain pieces and other accessories and some minis and create a little siege type diorama here so we can see the castle in all of its glory. Okay, so we just kind of grabbed a few things to kind of round out our castle. Obviously we could do more with more time, but we have some steps here. These are from Monster Fight Club. I forget where these Dark Age buildings came from. The cool catapult here, Lynn painted that one, and that was a WizKids catapult that came primed, but she did the paintwork. So what exactly is going on here, Lynn?
They're storming the castle.
They're storming the castle with just a handful of troops, but then again, there's just a handful of defenders. So it must be an abandoned castle in disrepair. Or maybe the local baron was out collecting taxes, and the peasants rose up and took over the castle.
That could be too.
So this is one disadvantage to having a smaller table. Normally you'd have the besiegers be a little further back, but we're working with what we have.
We'll just have to make a smaller castle.
Yeah, we could make a smaller castle. We could shrink it down by about one wall segment. In fact, let's do that. Let's go ahead and shrink it down just for the hell of it. All right, so we took out a couple of wall sections on the sides to make the outpost, which is a smaller configuration. So here's the encampment outside the walls. These guys are trying to break in. And it looks like the castle defenders have a surprise. They have secreted a small squad of knights here. We're getting ready to sally forth from the front gate and attack the attackers. And here toward the rear gate, a catapult crew has rolled up to try to soften up the defenses. And like I said, we could pop out that inset there to make a proper gate, but we haven't done it yet. But for now, this is pretty cool. And in the smallest configuration, that does fit on our 3x3 mat. More or less. Doesn't give a lot of room for strategic movement, you know, sneaking in from the forest or the mountains way off the board, but
we like getting right into the action anyway.
That's right. No futzing around. They're going to be right at the walls when the game starts. All right, I guess that's a wrap on our quick look at the Mighty Fortress from Games Workshop and Citadel Miniatures. And in its smallest configuration, the Outpost, it does work pretty well on our 3x3 table here, so hopefully we can put this to good use. Not too far into the future. And Lynn, you said you wanted to have some beastmen, so do you want to have beastmen attacking the castle or living peacefully within the castle trying to repel hostile humans?
We'll have to roll and find out which is which.
That's right. Who is the peaceful defender and who is the hostile antagonist? All right, as always, thanks very much for stopping by. We hope you enjoyed today's video. We will be back soon with some more tabletop wargaming goodness. But until then, please take care of yourselves. Try to have some fun out there. And we'll catch you next time.
See you soon.